How is the Booger Bullet so successful? What are its finer elements? And how do they multiply freely and without constraint within surf communities? If you'd like to find out, then you're in the right place. Welcome to Between Views. I'm your host, Alec Koski. This podcast aims to cast light on and connect you with inspirational people, identify them as potential mentors in your journey, and share their stories and wisdom with the world, all the while learning about early business and its dynamics. In this episode, we converse with Owen Hancock, owner and builder of the Booger Bullet and Owen Surfcraft, about the specifics of the Booger Bullet. Also, if you haven't yet gotten involved in our Instagram competition, it's not too late. The one and only Between Views Booger Bullet is up for grabs. If you've ever dreamed of travelling interdimensional speeds upon the waves, then this is your chance. All you got to do is follow Owen_Surfcraft and give Between Views a follow too. Leave a 5-star rating on Spotify or a review, and check out our Instagram competition. Good luck, everyone.
Why haven't I been doing this the whole time?
Yeah.
You know?
But like, it's kind of crazy the amount of motivation that gives you. It's also kind of scary. One thing I've noticed is like, you can get really easily caught up in what that means for your business. I know
you put too much weight on it.
Yeah, if you put too much weight on it. So like, how do you maintain, I guess, your level of input into Instagram where it's not becoming something that's actually a burden for you?
I've stopped posting so much. Like I used to post all sorts of progress pics, and I'd really hang out for like people to like comment on it and shit like that. I don't do that anymore. I just usually 9 times out of 10 now I'm putting up pictures to let people know their boards are ready.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll put up an end shot, or if I'm doing like some sanding late at night or something, and like the light comes across channels really cool, and I'm stoked by it, then I'll take a photo of that. But when I first started, I was really addicted to like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of stroking the ego a bit, is like being like, look how fucking creative this is. You know, like I'm making this shit right now sick. Like, so I used to post all this, like, I used to shape boards just to post pictures of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like,
because it can easily get to that point.
It can, yeah, totally. I was totally just like, oh man, like, and if you look back at some of my older posts, like, there was boards that would look cool.
Yeah, I was looking at that sick green one today.
Oh, yeah,
like shiny green one with like the triple channel super ace in.
That thing would ride like a fucking dog. That would be the worst board to ride. But it was like...
coolest thing to have on the sidewalk, but...
Yeah, I was like, this looks fucking sick. Like, so I'd make it just to look cool back then. Because I was like, I guess I was trying to be like, I don't know, have a look at this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'd like, people would comment and I'd start talking to them about it. We'd send messages to each other and get into like the design of things. And after a while, I sort of realized that was kind of bullshit. It is bullshit. Yeah. Of course it's bullshit. Like that, I'd never ride that fucking thing. It was terrible. Like, it's all wonky. It was way too asymmetrical, but it was kind of like, I think those sort of boards are more on the art side. Yeah. They were sculptures. Yeah. They weren't functional sculptures, but they were kind of like expressions of like, this is rad.
Do you find yourself having to kind of like hold back the artistic stuff a little bit sometimes when you're shaping boards, or like, do people typically order the standard boards?
A lot of people order the standard boards. Yeah. Which is like, at the end of the day, it's a business as well. So you can't just be like full art. You know, like that's why I sort of do art stuff separate. And I just make these boards to ride good, look good. Like, if people want custom artworks on their boards, I'm more than happy to do custom artworks.
What have I asked for? I've asked for a fish before. I love that fish that goes on.
The fucking space acorn. Oh, yeah. And I painted it to look like titanium, and there's like a neon colours coming out of it. And all. Yeah, I love doing custom artworks, but the artwork on the board is just an embellishment on how good the board will actually ride. Yes. Anything else that I'm making just for looks, I don't post anymore. Yeah. I do it to get it out of my system.
How much more time does it take to put the artwork on if someone requests something?
Sometimes it's like as long as actually shaping it.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Is it kind of like, would you say that's a little frustrating sometimes?
Like, no, I love it.
You like to, it's a good place for you to be able to do your art.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, I'm always stoked by people. Like we were just talking about that before, like how always stoked when people ask for custom artworks.
Yeah. Oh, so you don't mind it?
I love it.
Yeah, right.
I love it, absolutely. Okay. Like as long as like the board rides good.
Yeah.
And if you want some weird shit painted on there, I'm all for it, man. I'll paint some weird shit. I love painting weird shit. Yeah. You know, like it's.
So if I asked you for like just a blue triangle or something, how would you feel?
I'd get it done pretty quick. But then again, like I can't. I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've painted a lot of fucking blue triangles and shit before. You know, I'm not stoked on it. So, like, I might not put a picture up of that.
Yeah.
I might just shoot you a direct message and say, hey, your board's ready.
It's ready.
Yeah. You might not make it to the reel.
The triangle board.
Yeah. You have that board you ordered. It's good to go. Like, I'm not knocking anyone for just asking for simple artworks.
No, of course.
But if someone's asking me for, like, a real weird thing.
Yeah. You actually probably like that more.
I love it. Yeah, I love painting weird
What's the weirdest thing you've painted on a board?
Oh, fuck. I painted a hand plane and this kid was addicted to chickens or something. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Cool guy. He's ordered a bunch of boards, but he's getting like Christmas presents. I do a lot of Christmas presents.
Addicted to chickens?
Yeah, he just loved chickens. I'll try and find a picture for you.
Addicted to chickens, though, is a funny way to put it.
Yeah, he loved them. Like, it was like it wasn't like a retarded thing. He just fucking loved chickens, you know, like. And I painted this chicken on the underside, kind of cartoony. And you know the thing on the top of their head, like the ball sacky looking clucky thing? I made it a barrel. And the chicken was throwing shuckers, like like little feathery shuckers. It was actually hectic. It was sick. Yeah, and I was like painting it, and I was totally thinking to myself, like, there's no one else in the world painting this right now, I'll bet you.
Yeah,
it's like so sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. And he's just like, yeah, a bit of a weird request, sorry, but like my niece like really likes chickens. Can you incorporate anything chicken themed into this hand plane?
Yeah.
And I sort of stewed on it for a second. I think I know exactly what I'm going to paint. It's a chicken with a fucking barrel on its head. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll try and find a picture. I'll show you.
Yeah, please do. We might actually try and put that one up in the post of this episode if you can find it.
Oh, if I can, yeah. If there's a clean shot of it on my Instagram, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We'll definitely find it. It was, like that, kind of all cartoony. It was sick.
Yeah. So I'd just like to go back to the original Bullet.
Yeah.
How did you land at that? Like, how did you get... Because, like, that has just stuck around. It's like the OG. It stood the test of time. It truly... It speaks for itself. Anyone who rides one will understand why it's the good one. Like, how did you land at that design?
Originally, and this sounds funny, but it's like a thing. I was trying to be a tight ass with postage. So I found, like, the biggest cheap box that you can ship internationally, and I made the dimensions to fit that. That's no joke. Those are bigger. Those are slightly bigger. But I've got a thing where the dimensions for me, I'm a bit funny with it, but it's only because I do it so much.
Yeah.
For a bullet to tick my box, it has to be like twice as long as it is wide. Exactly.
Yeah.
It has to fit in that aspect ratio.
Okay.
2:1.
Yeah.
So I found...
Exactly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's 600 long, it's got to be 300 wide.
Yeah, right.
And that just sort of fits. Originally, I found a box, a prepaid shipping box that could go anywhere in the world, because eBay, which I was running a shop through for a while, had like this worldwide postage thing. And I made it to fit that. I was like, okay, this board I can get for this price anywhere in the world. And it's bigger than a hand plane, not quite a bodyboard. It's like this thing, because as soon as it goes over a meter, the postage is retarded.
Yeah.
And so I played with that, wrote it. It was good, but it was a bit long and a bit wide. Found a cut of wood that was like pretty standard, and then just made the dimensions to fit that. Yeah. The wood was like 285 wide, so I made the board 280 wide. So obviously it had to be 560 long.
Yeah. Was it New Zealand pine from the start?
Yeah, it was. It was because it was cheap and it was from Bunnings. And it was like perfectly plentiful. Like you never would run out.
Yeah.
So I always have, I guess this is sort of why you would go into body surfing in the first place. I love simplifying things. And that's kind of seems funny in a sense when you look at some of the shit that I make, but I really love simplifying.
Yeah, it's a bit paradoxical, actually.
It is paradoxical because like I'm not a minimalist in any fucking way, shape or form, but I love the simplification of things. So if I can make something like out of the material as standard as I can get it, I know that I'll always be able to get that product out of it.
Yeah.
So it started with that cut of pine, could make those boards out of it. It was cheap. It wasn't too heavy, wasn't too light. It was easy to waterproof. And then the shape, originally they were round at one end, square at the other, like a bullet. Hence the name Booger Bullet.
Yeah.
And then I saw this fucking insane photo of this UFO. And it was like from the 50s or 60s, like this great black and white photo of this UFO like fucking hammering. And it had this real primitive speed look to it. It was like this amazing elliptical sort of shape.
Yeah.
I just looked like I wanted to go fast. Eh? And I was like, fuck, I want a board that looks like it wants to go fast like that.
Yeah.
Like it looked like it had like this weird prehistoric speed built into it. You know, like the shape was just so like, there's like these guys on Instagram called Fantastic Acid, surfboard shapers from in Europe, and they've got boards that are like it too. Just this fantastic elliptical curve, and it's really, really good to look at. So I took the outline of the round to square tail and just wide point to wide point went round to round, and that was it.
Yeah. So I've seen one that you made. I actually had a turn on it once that was like much more like a UFO. It was like nearly like pretty much purely elliptical. It was the same.
Yeah, it was. It
wasn't wide at the top. It was wide in the center.
In the center, yeah. The wide point dead nuts halfway down.
Yeah.
And you could probably ride it arse to mouth the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you rode it back to front, you probably wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was slightly bigger. I think that was like 300 by 600 or something like that. It was a slightly larger template because it was out of plywood or something. I wasn't reduced to the width of the material.
Yeah.
Which is different now because I have the ability to glue up my own blanks. So I can go wider now. Like I've got a good clamp setup built now. But back then, it literally just started from this cut of pine. It cost this much to get it anywhere in the world. And like I've shipped boards to like 12, 13 countries now.
Yeah.
So like that, being able to fit it in a box that will go anywhere for the same flat rate price is really, really, really handy. So it literally, the Booger Bullet started from that.
Yeah. You've mentioned to me before that there's some places that you shipped to that you didn't even know had waves.
Dude, the first Booger Bullet I sent to The Hague.
To the where?
Den Haag. The Netherlands. I didn't know they fucking surfed in the Netherlands. I almost shot him an email asking if he knew what he was going to buy. Like, he's saying a sled, brother.
Thought he was buying like a cheese board or something.
Yeah, it blew me away. Israel.
Yeah.
Sent boards to Israel.
I heard there's a lot of surf in Israel.
I never knew there was surf there.
What's the one you told me about where the guy was surfing like the like break wall waves that were
Israel.
Like,
that was in Israel.
That was in Israel?
Yeah, that was in Israel. Yeah, I was blown away.
So what was he surfing on?
He was riding a goat boat.
Yeah.
One of those kayaky.
But what was the wave that he was surfing?
It's just like sandbars that built up behind these little nuggets of like break wall that went down the coast. It's like a sand erosion thing.
Yeah.
They put them in there to stop erosion, and like in behind them, all these little peaks.
Yeah, almost perfect. I remember seeing the photo.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd ride them, and he ordered a board, and I sent it to him, and surprisingly, it was really easy to get it over there. There's no problems with customs or anything like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was cool. Like Berlin, I sent boards to Berlin.
Yeah. You haven't had any trouble shipping wood?
The only time I've really had a sticky wicket getting boards into a country has been into France.
Yeah, right.
All the other times.
Just custom stuff like...
Oh, yeah, they lost it, couldn't care, whatever.
Yeah.
I did send a board to Morocco once, which got lost because it got delivered to a house that had just been demolished. He'd moved and forgot to
send it.
He'd moved and forgot to change his address or something. I can't remember, but
it's a great spot to send it.
It literally took like 6 to 8 months to get back to me because I chose like the option return via most economical route.
Yeah.
I got the box somewhere in the other room because it went via sea or something, but it went through all these other countries first, and every country had their own stamp on the box.
You have the box still?
I got the box somewhere, because I kept. I was like, this.
Yeah, I'll get a photo of that.
Fucking relic, like it's like it's been to more countries than most people. Like it took like 6 months to get back to me, and then it got back to me, and the guy hit me up like, so sorry, my new address is this, and I sent it again, and it was with him in like a week, which was rad, but like it had like an 8-month postage time since when he paid, because it went to a fucking abandoned house or some shit and came all the way back. It's pretty hectic.
Yeah, I'd love to see that box.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure I kept it because it was such a relic. It was like, oh my God.
We'll get a photo of it, and if we can get it, we'll put it up.
So much, like it's just gnarly. Yeah. But no, I've never really had too much of a hard time getting it into countries. The hardest thing is like, not because it's wood, the hardest thing is like proving that you're not like importing bulk like sporting goods or something, because there's a different tariff, import tariff or something like that, and yada yada. Like I've been sending a few boards to England at the moment.
Yeah, right.
And their like VATs are insane, so you have to claim it's crazy cheap compared to what it's actually worth, because they have to pay like 40-something% of their. Like it's real nuts. That's the hardest part is trying to prove you're not importing bulk goods. Like it's just like a one-off art item or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What's kind of cool with these, and you said that it's had like a natural growth to it over the years. What's kind of cool is you're like sending these like, because it's a craft, it's just, you've always referred to it more or less as like a spacecraft in a way that you can use in the water, and shaped it after that, as we just learned.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
You're literally sending like an identified flying object.
A taxed
identified flying object into other countries.
Yeah.
But you're landing dead center of other surf communities. Like you're landing dead center of other like people's places, and like if it's anything like what happened to our one, it just spread like that, because everyone was like, whoa, so fast, so fun, so like cheap compared to a surfboard, so usable, I'm getting more waves. Like have you got any feedback or like seen that like just go through other surf communities? Like does it explode through them once it lands there?
Easy. Like if I'm sending a board to a place I've never sent it before, like the first board I sent to Cornwall, the month after I had 10 boards go to Cornwall.
Everyone wanted one.
And it's for that reason. I sent some boards to Costa Rica.
Yeah. 5
went there after that.
Yeah.
Because the one person that rides it shares it around, and everyone goes, oh, that's actually fun.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that? And then they hit you up. So yeah, like I've definitely noticed. I sent 2 boards to Ireland, and then straight after that, I think the next day, the same guy's like, oh, we shared it with our swim club community or whatever. We went to the fucking wave garden and shared it around for the day, and then I literally the next day I got an order for 5 boards. So yeah, it's definitely, you can see once one goes over somewhere, it's like a parasite, like it just fucking like it just spreads. Goes, finds a suitable host, and then festers and stuff until it needs to duplicate. But I have noticed that. Yeah, when one goes, typically a couple will follow.
That's so cool, and that just means obviously like you've landed on a product that speaks for itself, or people have so much fun on it that they speak for it. And I think that's really amazing. Like, I think that's absolutely admirable that you've landed on that. And like, it must feel pretty rewarding to know that like week after week people are ordering these. You're what, 3 months backed up now?
Yeah, I've got a waiting list of about 3 months at the moment. Yeah. And partly that's because like everything else is so busy.
Yeah.
Like renovating and working full time and
okay, so that's based on life.
Yeah, I'm sort of still trying to stick to the 1 board a week or 1.5 boards a week sort of thing. Like finish a board in the week, get it to the varnishing process, and then start the carving the next one. So really it's probably like 1.5 boards a week if you figured it out.
Yeah.
But back in the day when I first started and I was hungry, I was like 3-4 boards a week, no worries.
Yeah.
Because I was just pounding through it, and I sort of would rush a little bit. That's one thing that I sort of look back on now and be like, oh, you know, not that I was sending out shit that was dodge, but I was sending out things that were rushed because I was so hungry to make more boards. Where now I'm like, I'm not letting it leave until I can live with it. If I can't sleep with it leaving my house, it's not leaving the house.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So it's changed in that sort of sense. But yeah, it's about a 3-month wait at the moment.
So giving yourself more time per board increased the, like, I guess the quality of the product?
Yeah. It sort of made sure that none of those little things were still hanging around.
Yeah.
You know, there's always, like, when you've made stuff yourself, there's little things that you sort of go, oh, I'll get it on the next one or something. You know, there's not those things hanging around anymore. So it's like, and I was really lucky. I worked with Dave Kelly, Dave Kelly Water Housings.
Yeah.
There's one of his up there.
Who's Dave Kelly for people listening?
Dave Kelly is the GOAT of surf camera housings, and I was his assistant for 3 years. Fiberglassing, plastic machining, making underwater camera housings for surf photography and wildlife videos and shit like that. We did a few David Attenborough films and stuff like that. So he had this amazing ability to not let anything leave the workshop till he was 100% happy with it.
Yeah. Because
like a big expensive thing is going to be inside that under the water.
Yeah.
Electronics and water don't like each other. Oh, they love each other, but they love each other to death, you know. And working under him for 3 years and seeing that, no, you won't get that on the next one. Don't let it go until you're 100% on it. I sort of got that from him, and yeah, it was really good to learn that from him.
Yeah. So that was a big lesson for you, like watching him.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a mentor for you.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
What else did you learn from Dave Kelly?
Well, he's a piper head as well.
Yeah.
He loved the wooden surf craft, and he's travelled a bunch and shot a bunch of surf photography.
Yeah.
And,
what's a piper?
Wooden belly board.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be, the Hawaiian term would be piper.
Yeah.
But
so one of the OG
back
surfboards from way back.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, learning a lot from Dave just about making stuff and being creative, but to a time constraint. You know, like being creative is good and all, but if you never finish anything, then it's not worth shit. You have to be creative, but you still have to finish things.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of creatives never finish shit.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
It's hard to let go of things.
They want to keep their
deep
project
into it, you know, like.
Yeah.
But no, Dave was one of the most creative people I've ever seen, but a different kind of creative. He was like a really industrial creative sort of guy.
Yeah.
And just working under him and seeing the way that he worked, and he's been like he's the guy. Like he's like the only one doing proper custom weird photography rigs for huge projects, and he's just working out of a little shed at his house, you know, and seeing someone who can be that like insanely respected in his like career and in his industry, and still so humble, like he'll never brag about it,
never says anything about it,
won't mention it, you have to ask.
Yeah.
If I did half of what he was doing, I'd be like, oh, fucking look at me, you know. But he's just like, oh yeah, Blue Planet 2, David Attenborough film. Yeah, we did some work for that. That's all he'll say.
And that's it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good quality modesty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great quality, and he was extremely modest and extremely creative, but still constructively creative, not just like one of those artsy fartsy motherfuckers that is just, you know, throwing shit at a wall. He was like a creative problem solver, and really so working for him for 3 years taught me so much about making my own stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because like just the few of those things that you mentioned there, I can see exist right here at your house. Like and that's the kind of the cool thing, and like a big point of Between Views as well, is like when we look up to people, we kind of change into them.
You do. You borrow from them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you start to like imitate and mimic the people that you admire, and then before you even notice, you're years down the track and you're like, oh, I'm doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crept up on you.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a conscious decision to start acting that way. It's just like you've been around in that person's orbit. So like a bit of it wears off.
Yeah.
It wears off on you. But like you change it as well to suit yourself, you know. But like there's been a few people that I've really learned a lot from.
Who else?
One of my TAFE teachers, when I studied industrial design, I'd studied graphic design and industrial design. Once we sort of like, Mariah had finished her university degree doing engineering, I paid my way through TAFE. I sent myself back to TAFE to get like year 12, whatever, and then I did graphic design and industrial design, and there was a lecturer there, a guy who taught the workshop and whatnot, called John Pryor. And I've never met a more cripplingly clever person in my life. Like, he was like so good at making shit, and so like he looked at things in a completely different way that I learned more under his teaching when he didn't even say anything. Just watching the way a person works, you can pick up so much stuff. And he just had like this he's the kind of guy that you would think you were feeling pretty smart that day. And he would like look over your shoulder at something you're doing in the workshop, like 3D printing or doing like a prototype or something. And he would say one thing and one thing only. And it was so blatantly clear from his perspective, but you'd never thought about it. And it would completely change your entire fucking view on the whole fucking thing. And you'd have to start again. And he'd just walk away clicking his tongue. Like that. Like he'd just shatter everything. Like, and then just leave. And like it was always a better way of doing it. Like I learnt so much from him and Dave, obviously. Mates as well on other things. But like if you're talking about like a career in making things, which is what I do now. I design and build stuff all day, every day in the day job. But those two probably shaped a fair bit of the way that I would spend my time in a workshop, my time in a workplace. Yeah, just being able to look at things at from a completely different perspective, just what the obvious answer is, because you always seem to rush to an obvious answer because no one likes not knowing what to do. So the first time you get to see what you might be the thing to do, you jump on it. Yeah. Because like, oh, that's the problem solved. It's not until you take a step back or like take a deep breath or go for a walk or whatever and be like, oh, hang on a second, there's a different way of doing that completely. Yeah, right. And it's probably better, but it isn't obvious.
It's very interesting you mentioned that. I was literally just talking about that with someone this week. The value of stepping away from something, and I think it's best understood as like going for a walk in your nature in a way, or not having your nature, but just like I've always heard like really old famous people have this thing where they go for a walk through like the woods or something like that, and it's actually when they go for that walk that they get their like big ideas come rushing to them. For me, it happens out in the surf. Yeah, like you'll just be surfing and you'll be like, oh, of course, light bulb moment out there. Yeah. Do you have that as well?
Well, that's something I've sort of been working on a fair bit lately. Like with work, I'm always thrown a lot of problems to solve. Yeah. Like that's my job, you know, is to make stuff, and making stuff is purely problem solving with materials. And I used to rush to it, but now I'm sort of like I've sort of been finding the beauty in letting the subconscious chew on it for a bit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just being like, I've got this big thing to fix right here, or I've like this thing's stuck this way, I can't access it anyway, I got to whatever I'm building, there's always a process to it, and if the process isn't clear, then I'll just fucking deal with that tomorrow. Yeah. You know, like I don't need to fix it now. It's not due for another week. I've got 4 days after tomorrow to build this and get it installed or whatever. So like overnight, I won't even think about it. But when you come in the next day, it's
somehow the solution's there.
It's kind of your brain's just been chewing on it all night without you knowing. Yeah. I'm just here cooking or listening to music or whatever. Yeah. But I've really started to sink into like the power of your subconscious mind. Like it's chewing all the time. You know, constantly. And like a lot of ideas for boards come from that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I won't be thinking about boards anymore. I'll be making the same outline I've been making for ages, but then all of a sudden one day I'll be like, oh shit, that curve's way better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that curve is hectic. Like, why haven't I been doing it like that? Or something. And it's literally, I think it's the power of your subconscious mind just chewing at ideas all the time, just working away at them.
So do you intentionally put stuff down then?
Yeah, I have started putting stuff down.
Yeah, right.
I used to rush to fix the problem. And like you'd get the problem fixed, but then after you'd gotten the problem fixed, that John in my mind would go, well, why don't you just do it like that? Like, fuck. Why didn't I just fucking do it like that?
Yeah. What was your teacher's name again?
John Pryor.
John Pryor, yeah.
Yeah, he's industrial design.
So his voice literally is
he just
stays in your head now.
Yeah, just go, I would just would have done it like that. And you'd be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's really good. Yeah.
That's cool. So you kind of carry him along with you now?
All the time. If I'm working on a problem, I'll be like, what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I'll leave that for a bit, and then I'll let the subconscious chew on that, and then I'll come back with a, well, I should have just done it like that the whole time.
Yeah.
If only it was that easy. Like, was that saying everyone has 20/20 in hindsight?
Yeah.
It's totally like that.
True,
like, it's just totally, I just wait for hindsight to catch up before I do anything now. Yeah.
So you got that industrial sort of creativity and modesty from Dave Kelly.
Yeah.
You learned, one thing that's standing out to me when you said all that was like you learned working alongside people.
Yes.
This is like the golden nugget of wisdom that just popped out to me when you were saying that. I was like, you learn so much just by being next to someone while they do and create.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you don't necessarily need them to like tell you anything.
No.
Or show you. They just do and you just observe, right?
Yeah.
And then you can do it somehow. We like mirror each other in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And like quite often learning that way, it's more organic. If you think about like back when people couldn't communicate and like they were trying to show someone fire hurts and they put their hand in it. You know, like fire's hot.
Yeah.
And like they're not communicating with like, hey, if you touch this, you're going to get fucking burnt. You know, like someone sees their foot go in the fire and they're dancing around like a maniac and everyone else goes, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
No, shit. Yeah. No, I know.
Thank you for listening to part 2 of our interview with Owen. If you enjoyed what you heard, please jump over to Owen_Surfcraft and give him a follow. You'll never regret buying a board like this. Secondly, if you listen regularly and want to hear more, then please help us out by leaving a star rating and comment, and we can continue to bring you more and more episodes. Remember to like or share it with a friend if it reminds you of them, and to leave a review in the section below. Or if you really found the information valuable, you want to make a little trade, you're welcome to purchase me a scrumptious cup of Make More Podcast Juice at buymeacoffee.com/betweenviews. I just want to give a shout out to our supporter MX, who's just shouted Between Views 3 coffees. Thank you again, MX. You've been an amazing supporter. In other news, Between Views is looking for collaborators in Instagram, social media, product development, and marketing. If you want to join the team, then please reach out on Instagram. Thanks so much. Finally, if you know someone who deserves to be interviewed or just have some feedback, then send us an email at betweenviewsbv@gmail.com or message us on Instagram. Thanks again and see you soon. Between Views.